And then I met somebody many years later, not many years, maybe like 2 or 3 years later, and we had been dating, and then we moved in together. And it's also important to say my dad and my mom split up when I was 14, and I haven't really talked to my father in a very long time. We have very brief conversations now and then, but that's another subject. But I remember I had to come out to my mother. I had to tell her that I was dating somebody, and it did not go well. It did not go well. I knew I could not tell her in person, so I had to call her. I knew that she wouldn't understand. Speak of the devil, there she is now. Needless to say, the story turns out better, but hold on. Hello?
Okay, sorry about that. My mother, she's trying to buy a food saver, one of those little vacuum seal food savers, and trying to figure out which one's the right one. Anyways, when I had met my boyfriend at the time, we had moved in together, and it was becoming serious. So I knew I had to tell my family, or I at least had to tell my mother. I have a very large family. My mom has probably 10 siblings. Each of them are married with probably 2 kids of their own, and some more. And at this point now, those kids, my father's side is, even though I don't see them anymore, a lot of them have passed away, but his was a little smaller. But my mom is just a huge family. And I knew there's some who I could never tell. And I still never have. I can't to this day. And it's not that I don't want to tell them. It's just that these are the type of men who just don't want to know. They're not disrespectful to me. My uncles are awesome, and they treat me just like anybody else. But they don't question it. They don't want to know, and I respect that. That's fine, because they're not mean to me. They're not derogatory towards me, which is nice. But it's still kind of tough knowing you can't talk about something with your family, just because some people think it's weird. So I had to tell my mother, and I remember I was standing outside of a bar called, I think it was Cell Block. Hilarious, but I was standing outside of a bar with my partner, and I think we had an argument over my boyfriend at the time. He wasn't my partner yet. About me needing to tell my family. I needed to tell somebody, that this is becoming serious, and I think I broke down and said, fine, I'll just do it now, fine. And because he didn't believe me that she wouldn't understand. And I went outside, I got on the phone, and I told her that I had been seeing somebody, and it's gotten serious, and that it's a he, and we're living together, and I needed you to know because you're my mother, and you should know this about me. It's something about me. And there was silence, and then there was, I think, a whole bunch of things like, is this a joke? I don't believe it. You're crazy. And needless to say, it didn't go well. It didn't go well, and I think it pretty much ended with her saying she would disown me or something. And my stomach just dropped out. It was the worst experience of my life. And me and my boyfriend got into an argument because I told him I knew this would happen, and I knew it would happen. And the details get a little foggy. I don't exactly remember how we reconciled, but she eventually came around to, I wouldn't exactly say accept it. It's, I don't know. I see a lot of other people who have these very campy relationships with their moms. I don't. I have a very, I'm her only son. I do a lot of manly things for her. I'm glad things got better with my mom, just because I don't have much of a relationship with my dad. And I remember at some point he had emailed me, and I had emailed him back, and I had told him as well. And I think his response was, now mind you, we don't talk, and we still don't to this day. His response was, I always knew there was something like that. Or we always knew that it was something like that, him and his new wife. And while that'll be a conversation for another day, she does most certainly play a role. And if she's watching this, I'm sorry, I don't mean to hurt your feelings. I don't like hurting people's feelings. It's I've gone through so much pain in my life. I'll just leave it be. I don't want to deal with that. But where was I? So I told him, and he pretty much said that, you know, we knew. And that was it. Our conversations were very short. And so here I was in Chicago, and at this point my mom had pretty much disowned me. I was living with my boyfriend at the time. I had sort of gotten through the first, 3 years of becoming gay in a day. Being gay in a day. Bottom line, I moved to Chicago, and there it was, and it was great, and I was with a boyfriend, and things were going wonderful with him despite the problems with my mom, and we tried, moving onward, and eventually she came around, and she was able to meet him, and she liked him, and everyone got along just fine, and it ended up working out. I actually took him home on multiple occasions to meet my other parts of my family, and that was hard for me, because a lot of people, I couldn't introduce him as my boyfriend. He had to be my friend, because my mom, while we were talking, it's clear that she really didn't want to discuss that. And I mean no offense to this if you're watching this, Mom. She doesn't want to discuss it to this day. It's not something that she comes from a different time, I guess, and but what I can say is she has made incredible strides at accepting me. And it's nice to know that you have somebody that you can talk to. Even if you can't do all the can't be gay things with them, but it's still nice to know that you have someone who loves you despite who you are, and even though that they don't accept it wholeheartedly, they're trying their best to understand and be supportive. So that's what I can hope for, is that that just continues moving forward, and things were going well for a long time. And me and my boyfriend, we pretty much had became partners, and we started calling each other partners. We had rings. It wasn't anything official. But we were together for 7 years, 8 years. And my mom had come out and visited us and stayed with us. And we had built a family. We had dogs. And it was really great. I can't deny having a relationship and a stable... My ex really did so much for me in helping me grow as a person and come out of my shell and try to help me understand who I was, and I'll forever be grateful. We may not be together, and it may not work out for the future for us, but despite that being the case, I am a better person for having gone through that experience. And anyways, sorry. this is kind of when it gets hard too, because it really wasn't just over. It wasn't like I was out and proud. I mean, I was proud, but I went from working more